Recording. And so we are recording. Thank you for joining us, everybody. If you're here live or if you're here watching later on our social media and YouTube, my name is Amanda Alcox, and I'm the new teacher support specialist in the Winston School of Education and Social Policy at Merrimack College. And I'm so excited to have some members from Up Education Network here to join us, to share a little bit about their organization, to meet you, and to answer any questions that you may have. Right above me, I have Estelle Tshitenge, who is the recruitment coordinator. Below me, I have Kayanna Brown, who is the director of recruitment. And below us, we have Hakeem Jackson, who is our senior director of family engagement and external relations. So we're so happy to have you three here to share with us what you have presented for us. And you can take it away whenever you're ready.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining on this rainy day. I truly appreciate it. As Amanda mentioned, my name is Estelle Tshitenge. I'm the recruitment coordinator at Up Education Network. I will be giving you an overview of what Up Education does as a school and organization for the community, for the students and families. So Kayanna, you can go to the next slide. And as Kayanna's going to the next slide, I'll start off by saying that we have 5 schools in Massachusetts. We have 3 in Boston and 2 in the Lawrence area. We serve grades K1 through 8th. We do have an only elementary school in Dorchester, which is Up Academy Holland. And to give you a background story, how we transform these 5 schools, let's start with our mission. Our mission is that we're a nonprofit and we partnered up with school districts to start and transform the schools that we have now. We saw that there was a need, and instead of closing a school down, why not just transform it? So we transform underperforming schools into high-performing schools. And we did a collaborative effort, and I'll show you in a few slides going in how we did that. And our vision with these schools is to partner up and to give support to students, especially minority students, and where these schools are located are in urban areas. So we want to make sure that all students are set up for success, and also teachers are set up for success in the classroom. So we also support our teachers with professional development and other opportunities that I will discuss during the slide. I did mention before that we do have 5 schools, which is a proud thing, and we serve over 2,500 students. And the schools you can see are Up Academy Boston, Up Academy Dorchester, and Up Academy Holland. And then we have our 2 wonderful middle schools in Lawrence, which is Up Academy Leonard and Up Academy Oliver. Kayanna, please go to the next slide. So what makes us unique? We stand out in many different ways, but a few ways I'll share with you is our ongoing professional development, our collaborative team approach, and receiving coaching at the moment when you're in the classroom. And also we are district public charter school. So what that all means is our ongoing professional development. We have professional development every Wednesday. It is an early release day for students. They are released early, which I know they're happy, and the teachers stay in the school building and receive professional development. The teachers discuss different topics that are teaching related. And teachers also break out into small groups and have those discussions, which gives teachers an opportunity to get to know each other. Maybe teachers that wouldn't work with because you're teaching different grades and different subjects. At that opportunity, when you are doing professional development, that's your time to work in a collaborative approach and get to know your colleagues. And in-moment coaching, when you are working in a classroom, you get feedback, whether you're the lead teacher or the assistant teacher or the para, you receive feedback. And you also receive feedback when you have your one-on-one with your supervisor. And we label it as glows and grows. We look at it as a positive thing to help you develop professionally in your teaching career. And we are a district public charter school, meaning that we've collabed with Boston Public, and we also are a charter school. So our enrollment process, if you are in one of our charter schools teaching, The enrollment process is through lottery. And if you are attending our Boston public schools or teaching in our Boston public schools, it just means that the students enrolled through the district, the neighborhood where they live. And the great thing about all of our employees that are teaching is you're part of the Boston Public School Union. So you do get great benefits and all the wonderful perks that come with being a Boston Public School teacher at our school. And the pay salary is also with BPS as well. So that's also one of the great things when we collab. That's one of the great benefits you get. Kayanna, can you please move to the next slide? Thank you. And me saying all of this, we are looking for great candidates to apply for our open positions that we have this year. We have teaching opportunities, but we also have leadership opportunities and school staff support. So there is room to grow and there is opportunities. If you don't see yourself in the classroom, but you still see yourself teaching, there's leadership and support opportunities. As you can see, the teaching opportunities are listed. And the leadership opportunities are listed as well as support. All the teaching positions are wonderful. All of our staff, Monday through Friday, with benefits, and the salary, as I mentioned, is a BPS salary. We also look at credentials and experience. At the end of this slide, we'll share our career page so you can apply if you're interested or just look over the job description and the requirements. Kayanna, can you move? Yes. Thank you. So as you saw in the previous slide, there's different positions that we have. And one of the positions that I really like the most that stands out to me is a building-based educator position. And the reason why I feel like that position is one of the great ones is because you're going to develop into a teacher, and sometimes you may not have that experience. You may have like 1 or 2 year experience, but you want to gain more. So I feel like the building-based educator position will help you transition into a lead teacher, and you also get to go to different classrooms to see which subject that you want to teach. So you have the opportunity to go to different classrooms. You are assigned one school, so you don't have to worry about traveling to this school and that school. So you do stay in your one assigned school. You have opportunities to have meeting with school leaders, with students and families. And it's really great if you're a first year teacher. And over 80% average of our subs move into teaching positions. So once you are a building-based educator and you feel like, okay, you had enough and you've been in that position for like over a year or two, there's opportunity for you to grow, as I mentioned. And the most important thing is you don't need a license to apply for this position. I know that's one thing that's on the back of people's head. I don't have a license, can I still apply? You can still most definitely apply. And we're looking for a building-based educator in our Lawrence schools. So please apply if you feel like the position is fit for you. And it is full-time and you still have benefits. That's also a great perk. Thank you, Kayanna. Next slide, please. And as I mentioned, the ongoing professional development, we also have our Up Teaching Fellow opportunities. And that opportunity is also great because you get to have experience in the classroom, and you also get to get your master's and be certified. So what that means is we have a program, if you're coming out of college and you want that opportunity to get some coaching, you work with a lead teacher in the classroom to get that coaching. And then we partnered up with a college, Spizzato College, who is now accredited recently, which is great news. You attend classes in the evening, twice a week. In the evening. So during the day, you're in the classroom, and Tuesdays and Thursdays, you are taking courses relating to teaching. And the first year, you also go to class one Saturday a month. And the second year, all the courses are online. And I feel like it's the best of both worlds. You're getting your master's, then you're getting your certification, and you're also getting experience in the classroom. And after your 2 years, when you are done, you will be working in one of our Boston schools as a lead teacher. So when you start off in this program, you will become a sub first or a paraprofessional, which is an assistant teacher, and you're working your way towards the ladder to be that lead teacher. So I believe and think that coaching is really important. We don't just throw you in there in the classroom. You learn about classroom management, you learn about the culture and the context and the curriculum. And this wonderful program, the tuition, which could be a question people will ask, it's $18,000 for the entire program. So for the whole 2 years, it's just $18,000. And you can pay that in installments, so you don't have to pay that right away. And Spizzato has also offered scholarship opportunities. So I encourage for you to apply if you're interested and work out the finances with the installment and the scholarship opportunities. And the last thing, you will be starting off with a BPS salary when you're in this fellowship position. And then when you become a lead teacher, your salary would change because now you have the credentials. So it's just something to think about for the teaching fellow opportunities we have at UP. Kayanna, can you move to the next slide? Thank you. So I'm gonna pause right there. I discussed teaching opportunities, but I also wanna introduce everyone to Hakeem Jackson, which is my wonderful colleague. He's the Senior Director of Family Engagement and External Affairs. So Hakeem works with the families and students, and he also does network, he partners up with network staff and does, it's a part of different programs. Kayanna, can you go to the next slide? And we appreciate Hakeem and his hard work. So these are a few things that Hakeem does because he's a man of many responsibilities. He serves as a member of the equity team. So he supports the development of the network equity priority and equity vision. We believe in diversity and equity here at UP. And so Hakeem does a wonderful job at overseeing and managing that. He also oversees and manages external relation projects, partnerships with external consultants that we have. So he does the planning and the strategic partnership. He continues to talk to our stakeholders and develop that relationship and maintain it. And he also has additional projects and initiatives with schools and other departments across the network. And he also works with the families and the students here at UP, which is important because we want to keep that family engagement going. There's family night, and then we also do family surveys. We want to make sure that the families are also involved in their students' educational journey. So I will leave the floor. Okay, I can go to the next slide. Thank you. So we'll talk about our application process. I know I said a lot. So Kayanna will drop some links to our career page so you can apply to the open positions that we have, the ones that I mentioned. The UP Teaching Fellow job is also on our career page, and also the building-based educator job that I mentioned is also on our career page. Kayanna will also be dropping the link if you want to talk to me one-on-one, like after this online session or schedule. You definitely can by clicking on that link. So that will be available as well. And once you apply, we'll see your application, and then next steps will be discussed in the email. And I also wanted to mention, for those who are joining, Kayanna Scott Brown is the recruitment manager at UP. Just to give you a heads up, if I keep saying Kayanna, that is why. Kayanna, can you go to the next slide? Yes, so I'm going to pause right there. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the chat or unmute yourself. And that way I'll be able to answer some questions before I redirect it to Hakeem, who is our guest panelist.
Yeah, so I feel like the chat could work, and then also if anybody's watching and wants to submit anything through the Q&A, that should also be up and running as well. And yeah, we can monitor that throughout the rest of the time we have together.
Okay. As we're waiting for people to drop their chat, I also want to share, we do have a social media page. If you want to follow for quick updates, we have LinkedIn, we have our Facebook, we have our Instagram, and Kayanna will also be dropping that link in the chat. So there's 3 different ways for you to follow and get updates from us. And as we wait for the audience to have questions for us, I think I see one. Do you have any opportunities for an MTEL requirement? So how that works, I have colleagues that help with the process for getting certifications. We have teachers that have pending certifications and they just have to complete a few hours or actually take the test. So we do have a waiver process if you need it until you complete your certification. I hope that answered your question. So moving on, I'm going to pass it over to Hakeem before we get started and open the floor. Hakeem, thank you for joining us, and thank you for all you do for the network and the families. I want to start off by asking you a question, and my question to you is, which aspects of your role do you enjoy and why?
So first and foremost, good evening, everyone, or afternoon. It's late afternoon. I'm excited to be here. Estelle, if you don't mind, can I give a quick 2-minute, just like how I got here and what brought me to UP? Because that might empower and inspire some folks. So I've been at UP since about 2012. So going on right around 9 years. And I was working at English high school through a Boston program for chronic absenteeism. It was a mayor's initiative. And I was actually contacted by someone at UP for a position specific to the launch or restart of Up Academy Dorchester, formerly known as the John Marshall. And so I did some research and really compared to, what I found on, the organization with my personal values. And one thing that really stood out to me was, first and foremost, that acronym UP. A lot of folks don't know that stands for Unlocking Potential. And so UP really approaches education under the premise that we're not trying to instill something in students that they don't already have. We understand that students are inherently great, inherently intelligent, and we're really looking to unlock that potential that they have. And I think many times in education, it's approached as if, the new entity, the new organization is the savior, which I think in many ways diminishes the ability and really what students bring to the table, students and families. And so when I thought about that, and then I thought about the mission of our schools, that all students acquire the knowledge, skills, and strength of character necessary to succeed on a path to college and to reach their full potential. And so I want to say, a caveat is we're thinking a lot about our mission, right? We're thinking a lot about, because in today's society, the trajectory of everyone does not always go through college. And that's not to say that college isn't a great option, because it is. In many ways, it's the option. But we're trying to instill access points for students to where they have many options, many opportunities. As we think about our vision, one aspect of our vision is really that students get to explore their path and potential. So we want to really create access, and creating access is not pigeonholing students into saying that, college is the only route. College is a great route for majority of the professions in the world, but there are a lot of great things that could be done with other forms of post-secondary education, trade school, things like that. And so what moves me about UP is also where we're at in terms of everything is guided under our equity work. And so I just wanted to say that, just as folks are thinking about the positions, and really, I think for me, it's not about necessarily what an organization offers in terms of the positions. I need to understand the moral fiber. I need to understand what are the things, that the values that really drive this organization. And I don't follow a dollar, I follow morals, I follow values. And that's what's brought me to UP, is really the values, the mission, and really just the love. When you see how we interact with our students, you see the energy and attention that staff put into the students, and you see the energy and attention that we put into each other. That's the type of place that I want to be. Because the reality, and I'll say this, and then we can jump into the questions, and I'll answer your first question. The intensity of the work that we do, and understanding that it's urgent. Like, we can't wait till tomorrow to push students to be successful. And so what that requires is a lot of time, dedication, which means sometimes I see my colleagues more than I see my daughter. And so when you have that kind of dynamic, you really need to value and really feel good about the place that you work. So now we talk about what aspect of my role do I enjoy the most. One aspect of my role in family engagement is building capacity in families. And it's not what would jump off the page, right? I do a lot of things, but this is one of the things that fulfills me and fulfills our organization and our families, because first and foremost, building capacity in families gives families an opportunity to contribute to our work, right? So now we're not making uninformed decisions. We're making decisions that include our families. I always say, and I'm not the one that created it, but our families are the experts on their children. And so how can we approach something? It's almost like trying to approach the pandemic without Dr. Fauci. Like, how are we going to do this? We need the expert opinion at the table. Also think, it allows us to come up with more of an equitable product. Again, we have to really see everything through an equity lens and ensure that the decisions that we make, the systems that we create, that rhyme, not even on purpose, but that all of that is infused with equity, that we are ensuring what is fair for all students. What are the access points that each individual student needs to get to this sort of grandiose idea that's not really grandiose because it's actually what they should have, right? It's we owe that to them, but to get to an excellent education. I also think that building capacity in families allows them to be better supporters of the school and their child's education. And then I think it also empowers families. It gives them hope. It gives them that empowerment that, you know what, like I came in as a parent, but now I can go and I can jump into this profession or I can do this. And that's what we do. I've helped parents get jobs. I actually have a parent now that has two forms of employment through the school. So we have a partnership with UCB, which is Union Capital Boston. I also oversee our network community-based partnerships. And so UCB is a program that incentivizes involvement and builds a community around our families. And so we need a site coordinator. That's a parent. I got that parent on. She receives a stipend. She's also employed on a project that I'm doing to deepen our ties in Lawrence. She gets incentivized and actually financially she paid to do that. And so again, when you talk about really the work that we do, education is the tagline, right? That's what we are. We're an education management organization. We support our schools, but we're really building capacity and hope in families in a way that's going to make them better for their family, for themselves, and for the world. When they leave us, they will be better in many ways, and that's our goal.
Thank you, Hakeem. Thank you for sharing that. And I agree. I feel like UP really instills different skills for the students to take with them, outside of school and use them currently and even adulthood. And I think it's also wonderful, the parent involvement. As a parent, I know I appreciate that. So thank you for answering that, and also naming different things that you love about your role. You can really tell you're passionate about what you're doing. It's not just like a job to you, but really your passion. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. My next question to you, I know COVID hit everyone from schools, organizations, and it made it difficult to have that in-person interaction that you're normally used to. So how do you engage with families during COVID? What type of different communication skills do you use to interact with them?
So I'm going to say two things: access and removing barriers. So in terms of the first piece, the access communication you touched on. So typically the baseline or minimum expectation that teachers or advisors, whoever's responsible for their group of students or homeroom teacher or an advisor, typically we've expected twice per month, just general updates, communication, in addition to sharing positive updates, like in addition. So typically a family might receive 3 or 4 touch points, 2 of them being positive, 2 of them being just general updates. We increased that to be weekly communication and support, so that we're not only sharing updates, but we're also asking families, how are things going? Not just with school, but personally, as much as they're willing to share. Because I hate to say this and it makes my heart hurt, We've helped families bury their loved ones during COVID, and not necessarily us providing the finances, but again, providing access to the resources out there. We're an education organization. And so in order to meet the needs of our families, we need to connect with those who lead in those spaces. And in that name, and we have had an intense focus on leveraging resources to address needs and barriers. And one of the specific things that we focused on is digital equity. Right now, digital equity is it's the hot button topic. If there's not equitable access to the digital resources that students need to be successful, then it sounds kind of crazy, but they won't be successful. And so we've gone into a partnership with Comcast. We've also partnered with Verizon. We also work very closely with our districts to ensure that we've addressed everything from internet access, hotspots falls in that, computers. Every student received a computer. And then for our younger, more hands-on learners, they've gotten iPads so that they can do more interactive learning that as closely as possible mirrors the classroom experience. Because when you're younger, K1, K2, you're doing centers and you're doing a lot of, play that's really about your interpretation and really understanding and seeing the world and really exploring your imagination. So we've really taken that into account as we've also addressed the physical and other barriers that families. I would say we also have really increased attendance at family governance meetings. So family governance is the PTA, school site council, those family groups. We've really made a real effort to get more families there and touch on topics that allow them to really assist in planning, get updates around what's going on. We've even had families on not the equity task force or the equity planning teams, and we have an equity action team. We have parents and students on that. As we were thinking, about like the pandemic, and when we first got to this place, it was like, okay, we're gonna have to basically break out of school and be home. We made those decisions with the information from families, with feedback, with input. And we also have things like the tech task force. So we have an entire tech task force that's aimed at addressing and coming up with creative solutions around things like digital equity and other things that we deal with families. So right now, one thing that they came, and these are brilliant thinkers, they said, what are the prevalent tech challenges that families are experiencing right now? And they're literally coming up with a series of videos, how-tos of a comprehensive list of digital sort of topics. Everything from how to set up an email, how to log on to Zoom, how to control your sound on Zoom, how to share your screen on Zoom. Another one that we came up with is how to make the internet work for you, right? One thing, it's almost like you can give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, or you can teach a man or woman, because I want to be clear, this is not about gender, but I'm just using the saying. But you can give a person a fish and they will eat for a day. You could teach a person how to fish and they will eat for a lifetime. And so we're trying to instill things that will be lifetime skills in families. And so that's kind of the premise behind it, is that if we could teach families these things, then they will not only be better for themselves, they'll be better supporters in every aspect of their lives, including how they support their child. I'll leave it at that, because I could keep going for years, man. I tell you, I'm so excited and enthusiastic about this work, but I'll pause there.
Oh, thank you. And I heard that quote and I agree. Why not just teach the family and the students? That way they're independent and they don't have to rely, but of course we're there for support. But yeah, thank you. I definitely resonate with what you said, especially COVID. It's unexpected. We never experienced COVID. So the way we're still communicating with families, I think is wonderful and they appreciate it. And I love how we update them about positive things that's going on too. Because sometimes when you get a phone call from school, you're thinking, oh, what did my child do? But it's actually your child is doing great. Here's the progress. So I really love that UP is doing that. And my last question to you, Hakeem, and then I'll leave the floor for anybody that has questions. We mentioned equity in our vision. So being a part of the equity team and development of the vision, how do you think that work relates to UP's overall mission and vision?
So this is going to be the shortest answer of today. And this is sort of a mic dropper, right? The equity vision is the vehicle that drives our work and is directly in partnership with our mission and values.
That was short.
Yeah, because I feel like any more will put meat on the bones that may not be necessary. Like that is at the core of it.
Yeah, mic drop. Thank you, Hakeem. That was really, I appreciate that. And I hope the people that are listening really got an idea of what UP does, and especially specifically what Hakeem does, to make sure that everything is on point, from family support to network support and stakeholder relationships. Really appreciate that. So I will pause for a few minutes and see if anyone has any questions in the chat. You can write it out, and Kayanna or Amanda will read it out.
Yeah, and as we're waiting for questions, I just wanted to share that all of the links that Kayanna put in the chat will be in this YouTube description box below. So if you're watching this after this fact, you can, check out the description to see all those live links. Estelle's email, the one-on-one sign-up sheet. I think there was something about the career pages. Mint, our Mint's LinkedIn is always sharing things of UP Education Network, and UP Education Network is always sharing our Mint's things. So if you want to try to find their socials through that platform, I know that they're very active in that way. Oh, you have the follow us right there. And apparently you also have a Facebook and Instagram. Oh, Mint's doesn't have Instagram yet, but that's something I'm looking into. So I'll check out yours as well. That's great. And was this your last slide? Was this the follow us? Is that, I just want to make sure.
Yes, that is that is the last slide.
Awesome. So we can keep this up.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'll keep an eye out on the Q&A too, but thank you. If we don't say this now, I just want to say thank you for being here. It was so nice to see all three of you together to share about this awesome organization. And hopefully some of our Merrimack College students are interested. And if they have any, questions after this, they know where to find you. But this is really helpful, and it gives us a great visual, and, just seeing you and hearing your voices are great. So I'll end with that, but I'll let you say any final words yourself as well.
Can I say something? I just want to say, if anyone is out there are wondering, is this question a good one? I've been here for 9 years. I have a lot of historical knowledge of the organization, and I don't think there's a such thing as a bad question. I'm also, Kayanna and Estelle can attest to that. I feel I'm real as they come, where I will not shortchange you on responding to your question. I'm going to give you the real deal, even if it's a tough question that might be a little sensitive. I will answer your questions, because I think it's important for you to have a real perspective on a place that you may seek employment or seek opportunity at. And so I think it's important for transparency and for folks to just keep it real. So I say that to push you all, if you do have any questions or anything that you're curious about. Anything that you want to hear more about, the floor is open.
Thank you, Hakeem. I appreciate that. I just wanted to add why I love working at UP before we end this call. I've always heard of UP, and I was excited to be joining the team because I really love what UP does for students, setting them up for success, but also having more than one way to be successful. The coaching, the school culture specialists, the teachers, all hands are always on deck for students. And then for the teacher, you have the ongoing professional development. There's more than one way to climb the ladder. And if you have aspirations and goals, you can start somewhere from a substitute to a building-based educator and work your way up to a lead teacher or even a operations or a school staff support. So I really love that. And what also resonates with me with UP is just, I'm African. I'm from the Congo originally. And when I went to school, I spoke French. French is my first language, and I didn't have the proper support I felt that I needed, especially not understanding the English language. And I always feel like if I had went to UP and I was that age, I feel like UP would have supported me in the areas. They would have got me a French tutor. They would have asked my parents what are Estelle's needs, just to set me up for success. I felt like going to that school, you know, I was a little bit delayed in many academic areas. So I see how UP cares, and they will really reach out. They will call, they will email, potentially a home visit, just to make sure that you are fine and that your student is fine. So when I recruit and I talk to applicants, you know, I don't just say things because it sounds nice. I believe in a vision, and, you know, I see the work itself, how just really cares about the staff and the students. So that's all I wanted to say. And everybody, if you saw the link, reach out. And this will be on YouTube also. So if you missed it now, it's okay. You can still reach out to us when you see it on the social media pages and YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other final words from Kayanna or Hakeem? You can keep this chat open too.
I see Catherine Jacobs sent me a chat. I look forward to our interview as well.
Perfect.
I'd be happy if you all okay, Kayanna, and Estelle, you tell me what you think, but if there's any one that has anything community related, family engagement related, I'd be okay with you all connecting them to me like afterwards if you all fielded any questions that required my follow-up or insight. I'm happy. And that goes for you as well, Amanda. If you come across, you know, your students and they have questions, I've been known to take folks on community mapping as well. Like I'm willing to go to that level because I think there's a lot of factors that go into making an employment decision. Sometimes you need to see the community around the school. Sometimes you need to see the school. And so I defer to you all, but just know there's virtually not much that I wouldn't be willing to support to help make this an easier decision for folks.
Yeah, thank you. I'll definitely keep that in mind and I'll note it down. Thank you.
Thanks, Hakeem. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
This is fun. Either way, I love doing things like this. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. I'm just like, I don't know. We do such impactful work and often are in the trenches. And so sometimes you don't really get an opportunity to actually talk about what you're doing because you're doing it. And so it amazes me. Sometimes I'm like, oh snap, I do that. Like, I'm like kind of having revelations about things I do from my communication. Like I'm learning new things about myself. Like, wow. And so it's an awesome opportunity. Appreciate you all.
Likewise.
I almost went a whole webinar on Zoom without being on mute and trying to talk. What we're going to do right now is we're going to stop the recording, but if you're attending live, we're going to stay here. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask us off record, and yeah, well, that's how we'll end this time with us, but I'll stop the recording now. If you're watching on YouTube later on, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and check the description below for any additional questions or information you might need. Have a good one, everybody. See you next time.